Good morning. My name is Tunga. I'm from Nepal, Rai Indigenous Nation of Nepal. I work with Nepal Federation of Indigenous Nationalities, which is an umbrella organization of all indigenous peoples organization in the country. So in UNFCCC COP29, I am following more on climate finance. So what do we see here in COP with regard to climate finance is that we don't know the whole negotiation text is bracketed until now. It's going to the high level ministerial decisions. However, we see there are a lot of different views of countries, but as indigenous peoples, what we would like to see is overall we want to see our collective rights, including right to land, territories and resources, right to self-determination, and everything as included in UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples be complied with, be applied in climate finance by saying that what we would like to see in climate finance, also a very direct access of indigenous people to climate finance, need and priorities of indigenous people to be addressed by climate finance. So how our distinct need and priorities can be addressed and respected by climate finance is only through respecting collective rights, respecting our direct access, and so on. But what we see so far in a new collective quantified rule of climate finance is there are a lot of reluctant counterparties to include language on indigenous peoples, and also a lot of other details of indigenous peoples' right. For example, access, participation, and those kind of things. And also, we would like to see the definition of climate finance would really include very specific language on indigenous peoples. So the climate finance should be additional, quantifiable, new, ambitious, and this kind of finance, no? And what we also want to see, climate finance should not be additional debt, should not be a loan, should not come in the form of loan to communities, to indigenous peoples, and even to the country. It should be historical responsibility of developed countries to provide grant base from public sources to developing countries, and where indigenous people should have direct access. Only through direct access we indigenous peoples can address our distinct priorities and needs. Otherwise, it's very difficult for us to be able to enhance our contribution in climate action. So the problem we see at the moment is also conflation of different irrelevant items and terminologies in climate finance. That doesn't mean that we don't want other things, but we don't want a meshy and very vague things that doesn't make sense at all when it comes to implementation phase. So we want indigenous peoples as distinct constituency or distinct peoples reflected in their decisions, but that's not happening so far. We are yet to see the final decision and final text, but we are fighting hard to keep indigenous peoples as distinct peoples and distinct constituency across the negotiation text.